with the Lilt Product team. To start things off, just to remind you, time permitting, we'll have a live Q&A session after the presentation. Please make sure to, if you would like to jump on screen and request to ask a question live, please make sure to turn on your camera and microphone. And you can also feel free to drop questions in the chat and Shaun can address those as well. All right, so let's get started. With that, Shaun, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Allison. Let me share my screen with the audience here. All right, thank you everyone for joining. We're so excited to have you here at Ascend 2020. My name is Shaun. I'm the head of product and engineering here at Lilt, and again, we're super excited to have you. I want to kick things off by introducing our product team. First, we have Kara. Kara focuses on product for our translators. George is a product manager on the enterprise services side. Jeffrey handles the enterprise and government product. Mish is our lead designer on our translator product. Marius is our lead designer on enterprise and services product. And I've introduced myself. I'm Shaun. Awesome. So Lilt's mission is essentially to democratize language. In the product team, we think a lot about what that means for us, for our product strategy. What should we build? How do we change the world when it comes to translation? And a really good lens that we use is a customer lens. And in fact, Lilt is a customer-first, tech-enabled service provider. What does it mean to be customer-first? So an example of this is every 6 weeks, we sit down one-on-one with our customers and we talk about our roadmap. We talk about ways we can innovate together. And we talk about building things. An example of this is our partnership with Intel. We sit down with the Weekend team, and out of those conversations have come our TMS Connector suite, which we'll demo in just a bit. Intel, of course, uses the SDL version. We've made numerous improvements to our AI-powered localization workflow. And all of this has resulted in a lower cost of translation for Intel. And they've moved much of their translation to Lilt. Great, so let's jump in to the product piece of this presentation. Today we're announcing Lilt's brand new cat editor. We've built it from the ground up. And the reason we did this is for translator effectiveness. So the way we think about effectiveness is both quality and productivity. This new cat tool, it responds to translator interactions, whether that's working with the sidebar or whether that's clicking into a segment, responds within 150 milliseconds. This is consumer grade quality. We're really excited to demo this in just a little bit. Introduce Kara. In addition to having this new editor, we've deployed the Lilt solution in 5 locations around the world. So you might think, well, yeah, sure, it's a cloud solution. That's not that hard. But actually what's happening is we have a worldwide network of translators, and they can be using actually the same AI for a particular customer. And that AI is synchronizing across these locations so that if you're in APAC, for example, maybe in Japan, you're using the Taiwan install instead of having to suffer all that latency from the US. So this is a solution enabled by our engineering and research teams and Lilt. So we think a lot about connectivity at Lilt. If a head of localization leaders in an organization, and they are working in their TMS as sort of the hub for taking in content from various departments, marketing, support, taking that content out to their vendors, letting content come back. How can Lilt just simply plug into that so that adopting AI is easy? And this is our solution. We've announced this a couple weeks ago. We currently support TMS connectors in SDL, TMS, SDL World Server, XTM, and SmartLink, and we have many more coming. We have a strong Q4 roadmap to strengthen the portfolio of TMS connectors. Also, insights and control data insight and control is really important for us and our customers. What we've done is we've enabled an OData compatible endpoint, and we've published a series of we can provide to you. Any BI tool can use the point, and you'll get visibility into budget, production, project spend, and status. We'll have Marius and George talk. And I mentioned it a little early on. It might seem obvious, we have a cloud solution, but we also have an on-prem solution. We can deploy to AWS, Azure, Google, as well as just bare metal. And customers that are really focused on security appreciate this outlook. We can turn this on. This is ready to go today. Great. So I'm going to now partner with Kara here. We are going to share the CAT tool. We're so excited to do this. This is the first time we've shared this with the world. And thank you. I want to say thank you so much to the engineering and research teams that have blood, sweat, and tears into this. It's such a great innovation. Kara, how are you?
Great, Shaun. Thank you so much. What you're looking at right now is a template from Canva. Canva is an online graphic design platform that allows users to create social media graphics, posters, and documents. Canva is also one of our customers. For this session, you'll hear more from Paul Buckley, one of their localization leaders. Canva is one of the fastest growing companies around the globe, and a key part of their strategy to fuel growth is to make all their content available in every language. Canva's team is constantly publishing new templates to make it easy for users to create beautiful documents and designs. And thanks to Lilt, Canva's able to localize new content in over 100 languages. Now I'm going to take you to our CAT editor and show you how our linguists translate content such as this template. All right, so this is that same template uploaded into the CAT tool. I am going to show you one of the segments here. Shaun?
Yeah, Kara, so we've got some great questions from the audience today. And one thing I want to call out is that, some people are asking, well, maybe there's pure human translation and then there's MTPE. And one of the things that's quite unique about the Lilt solution, or is the unique Lilt solution, is that RMT works hand in hand with the translator. Translator's always in control of the final output, but it's really a relationship that's happening here. And one of the features that we've implemented is what we call predictive typing. Could you show us that?
Sure. So I'm focusing on this segment that is from the template. And the first word in this segment is defendiente. Okay. This is the source, and this is the translation area where I'm going to put the target, where I'm going to put in the translation, and this is our MT suggestion. So defendiente, I think it's technically correct, but I'm going to translate it as protect yourself. So I'm going to type it in. So just watch the MT suggestion area. Did you see that? It just updated with our predictive typing. Okay. The rest of the segment looks good. So I'm just going to accept the suggestions that the MT is telling me about. And then I'm going to confirm this segment and move on. As you can see, every time that the translator puts in their translation, our NMT model gets retrained. It takes some repetition given the language pair and on how fast the MT will offer a new suggestion. So for the second segment, I'm also going to type in protect yourself. Okay, this looks good.
Car, so this is really cool. So you're typing in some of the segment, protect yourself, but then it looks like you're auto completing, accepting the MT's recommendation for the rest of the segment. And this is how a translator would work through our tool. And as they do it, as Cara mentioned, every time they confirm a segment, our MT is retraining. Our MT has over 6 million parameters that are retrained on the fly. And so instead of taking days or weeks to retrain an MT, it's all happening in real time. So this is great.
Yeah. So you can see in this segment now the MT suggestion has changed it to protect yourself. So again, as Shaun mentioned, we don't have to wait for translators weeks or months to update our MT models. By adapting in real time, translators see efficiency gains from one segment to the next.
Yeah, Cara, this is, thanks for pointing that out. So the MT suggestion has changed here. Now you no longer have to type protect the MT, you can just auto accept it. And this is exactly what we're talking about, the relationship between the translator and the MT. It's not the MT tells the translator the answer and then there's post editing. It's not the MT says nothing and the translator puts in the answer. This is a relationship. They're working together. And that is what, for our enterprise customers, produces translator productivity. This is awesome. Another feature, another question we get, and we talked about a little earlier in the conference, is tags, right? Tag placement is key. We want to maintain formatting as we do the translation. Can you show us our tag feature, Cara?
Sure. Since I uploaded this template, it was a web page, so I uploaded it into our CAT editor. So the formatting information is in tags. See segment number 7. Now I'm going to just simply accept the translation automatically. And our translators have the option now to either project tags by doing a short keyboard shortcut or simply by confirming the segment. You see that these tags are placed automatically. And
awesome. That's super powerful. Thank you for showing that. Now, in terms of sometimes in tools it's cumbersome to edit tags and text in the same space. How does the Lilt CAT tool handle that? Can translators edit these sort of simultaneously?
Yes, now in our new CAT editor, we are able to simultaneously change the text and change tags. So I'm going to change the El Archivador to file cabinet. And then I'm also going to place the tag here. You can just update it right there. And when you're done, you just confirm the segment and move on.
You can see that UI is, I mean, even over Wi-Fi, over cloud in this demo, you can see that editor is super slick and super responsive. Thanks, Cara. Another topic of conversation with enterprise customers is often terminology, right? How do we make sure we have terminological consistency across projects? And many times MTs will just they just give you what they give you. But at Lilt, we've built in considerable terminology functionality. Can you show us what our approval workflow looks like? How that works?
Sure. I'm in the same document. I'm now logged in as a translator would be to a project. And as the translator is translating, they see a piece of word or proper noun, something that they don't want the MT to just suggest. So they can just simply add it to the term base. We have another keyboard shortcut or a manual button to bring up the add term base feature. and it's automatically selected the segment that was focused in on. And the translator just put in the source text that they want and the target text and add the entry to the term base. As part of our workflow terminology review workflow, once the term is added by the translator, we have the reviewer accept the term. So now I'm logging in as a reviewer. And as soon as the translator puts in the term, the reviewer will see review terms. So here's the source that the translator put in, here's the target, and all they have to do is hit approve. So now this term is added.
So and that's real time, right, Cara? There's no delay, no latency for that term to take effect. It's immediately available across projects. Is that right?
Correct. So
awesome.
You saw that I reviewed the term. I just went back to the translator's view, and now you can see the term highlighted and a reminder how to translate it a certain way. As we scroll through the rest of the document, you can also see here that the term is highlighted, and you can also see here it's also in the NT suggestion area that the term is highlighted. I want to thank you all.
Sorry, go ahead, Cara.
Thanks, everyone, for viewing these CAT features. I'm going to turn it over to Mish to show you some additional CAT features that ensure quality for our platform.
Thanks, Cara. Hi, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Mish, the lead product designer for our translator products. Here at Lilt, quality is key. We want to ensure that our linguists have the best tools to deliver high-quality translations to our customers. That being said, I'll be showing you Lilt's Batch QA tool. This tool can be used to run across an entire document, capturing all linguistic errors no matter the number of segments or length of the document. It makes it easy for linguists to find and fix errors in one single place. Now let me show you how this works. Great. So say I'm a linguist and I just completed translating the same document Cara just showed. I can go to File and run Linguistic Batch QA check. What you'll see here is a QA report that's generated, which shows all the linguistic errors found in the document. As you can see in the QA report, errors are grouped by category. You can accept all. You can accept individual suggestions. You can also just directly make inline edits. Every action will be reflected and automatically updated in the document. This tool works for all the languages we support at Lilt and helps to provide an additional layer of quality to our translations, ensuring consistency and quality for our customers.
Awesome, Mish.
Yeah. So now I'd like to announce a brand new feature, which you are all actually the first to see. At Lilt, we're focused on translator effectiveness. Translator effectiveness is translator quality and translator productivity. Taking quality to the next level, Lilt is developing a cutting-edge neuro auto review feature. This technology learns from every correction reviewers have made in documents and projects from the same customer. We've trained our AI with reviewer data, which can help guide linguists when they're translating new documents. And let me show you how this works. So what you'll see here is a document from our customer A6, which contains product descriptions and is being translated from English to German. In this first segment, you can see that the model name Gel Nimbus 21LS is incorrectly translated on the German side. If you look at the target in the segment, the LS part of the product name is missing. By running QA at the segment level, our neuro auto review tool will pick up on this error and provide suggestions based on how reviewers have translated this in the past. The ability to track reviewer preferences allows us to uncover errors that are invisible to conventional rule-based QA tools. And ultimately, it promotes consistency across documents and projects for our customers. Thank you so much for following along. Back to you, Shaun.
Mish, super cool. Thank you so much for demoing that feature. That's definitely impressive and a quality improvement for our customers. Great. So one recurring question we've had today is, well, how do we access Lilt's technology? And that's really powered by our TMS Connector suite. And so I'm going to pass the baton to Jeffrey and Alex from ASICS. Jeffrey, again, is an enterprise PM here at Lilt, and Alex is the head of Loc at ASICS. Jeffrey, how's your day? I think you're on mute. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Shaun. Yeah, I'm excited about the session and excited as always to chat with Alex. Hi, everyone. As Shaun mentioned, I'm Jeffrey. I'm a senior product manager at Lilt, focused on our enterprise customers. I spend a lot of time working with heads of localization, like Alex, who's head of Loc at ASICS, and I'm hoping that you got a chance to catch her session earlier today, as it was really insightful to see the localization workflow at ASICS. Alex, thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy day to be here with us today. I know the holidays are rapidly approaching, so I can only assume that this is the busy season for you at ASICS.
It is, although this year seemed busy all the time.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Alex, we've spent the past year working together as ASICS has been an early participant in the Lilt Design Partnership Program. Specifically, we've been collaborating a lot together on the XTM connector, which is one of our TMS connectors. It's been really insightful for me to not only see the localization space through your eyes, but to also better understand what it's like to be so reliant on a TMS and what that looks like at such a large localization org as what ASICS has. I'd love to hear what your experience has been like with the design partnership, as well as its effects to ASICS as a whole.
Yeah, it's been honestly a refreshing experience because I haven't had the same experience with other partners, honestly. So this really started because, at least in our case, because we had a big pain point, and we expressed this to Shaun. Basically, because of our technical limitation and our inability to be able to connect our product information management system, which is the content repository where we have our product content, to the Lilt system, we had to basically process our projects manually, mostly through email, which, you know, everybody knows is not an ideal method. It is not trackable. It is inefficient, et cetera, et cetera. So we embarked on this conversation of how to improve my daily life, which is always appreciated. And I think the first attempt was at me using just the Lilt system, TMS, to do the project management. But in our case, it just wasn't the right fit. It wasn't what we needed to make our process more efficient. And the next step was Lilt was gonna, maybe develop a new project management view for us to work with, which I thought, oh my God, this is gonna take forever. And then one day Shaun came and suggested that, how about we connect to the TMS that you work with on a daily basis? That way you don't have to change your process at all. And I was like, well, that sounds too good to be true. That sounds brilliant. So it actually happened. It happened more quickly than I expected. And it's had actually bigger benefits than just solving our project management pain point. So of course now we can do our project management and track our projects through the same TMS that we use for all our content, but also we can sync our TMs with the rest of our content, which is really, really important for us, because we would have had to, you know, manually import, export TMs from the two systems, and that's always messy, and obviously it's manual. So that was another huge benefit of integrating the two systems. We can also do more file engineering on our side now, instead of kind of pushing junk to Lilt and have you clean up things. So it's been really an expanded, you know, beneficial initiative for us, and a much easier solution than all the complicated solutions that we had initially thought of. And I have to say that is one of the refreshing things about Lilt, is that you kind of look at simple solutions to complicated problems. I think you're muted, Jeffrey.
It's always great to hear that on your end it's a simple solution to a complicated problem, because on our end it felt like a very complicated problem as well. And we have some great engineers who've made a really great experience for our customers. I think you touched on a couple key points, which kind of became apparent to me as we were working together, which is just like kind of how hard it is for an organization, first of all, just to onboard onto a TMS. Like, you've done so much work creating your workflows, building those TMs, making sure it's easy for your team to manage them, and that, you know, the term bases are relevant. And it's essential for us to be able to work really well with you to allow you to utilize those things. Like, you know, as you were saying, pulling something into email not only isn't trackable, but it's creating a little bit of extra work. So it's something we were able to learn through this partnership about, you know, the amount of time that's involved in not only getting up and running, but keeping up and running. So that's one of the big drivers between a lot of the things such as the TM sync. So yeah, so we built this functionality so customers like ASICs can send content to Lilt for localization while still maintaining their existing XTM workflows. So let's head over to XTM and take a look at how that works in action. Bear with me while I get this up and running. Apologies for the delay. So right now we're looking at the XTM dashboard, and we're going to go create a project based off of a Lilt LSP template, which allows Lilt to be assigned as the LSP. We can define parameters such as title and due date, upload the source file, and then specify the languages we're looking to localize. We then send the content to Lilt for localization. And here we can see brochure 3 demo has not been started. So let's head over to Lilt and understand how things work under the hood. So here we can see brochure 3 demo has been imported into Lilt, and you can see it's an English to Spanish project. If we click in, we can see the document we uploaded in XTM, and a translator can then go in and localize the content. Once the translator has translated the segments, they can go through and confirm them, and the document will be marked as done. This prompts the document to be moved into review, where a reviewer will be assigned to ensure the quality of the translation. Once the reviewer has confirmed the segments, the document is again marked as done, and this time is moved to the done column of Lilt. This triggers Lilt to send the content back to XTM and for review by the customer. And here you can see brochure 3 demo, and it's in review step for a customer to take a look at. And that's how simple it is to localize content with XTM. All you do is you create a project, you assign a Lilt template, which sets Lilt up as the LSP for localizing the content. Lilt does its magic through a combination of machine translations and human translators in the loop. And then we send the content back to you for review and to pick up in whatever stage of your XTM workflow. Thank you all for taking the time to chat with Alex and I, and to take a look at what we've been working on with our XTM TMS connector. We're really excited to share this with you as we expand our TMS portfolio.
Thank you so much, Alex, and thank you, Jeffrey. That's how we talk about connectivity. Our TMS connector suite connects right into to key TMSs, SDL, XTM, SmartLink. Again, we have more coming. Let's transition a little bit now to talk about data and control. I'm going to introduce Marius, and then after Marius, George will hop on to talk about Lilt Insights. Marius, how are you?
Great, thanks, Shaun. So hello, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Marius. I'm a lead designer here for Enterprise Government and Services team, and I'm super excited to talk to you about the thing that I've been personally really involved over the last couple of months, which is Lilt Insights. So let me just share my screen quickly. There you go. That's something. So what is Lilt Insights? Lilt Insights came from our design partnership program, because when talking to a customer, we repeatedly heard that it would be great to be able to access the data about the project, about the budgets, about the productivity, and about the volume in real time. So we built Lilt Insights. Lilt Insights lets you do exactly that. You can access your Lilt usage data in real time. And right now it's available as a set of Tableau reports, as well as an OData compatible API, which works with any major BI tool. So if you're not using Tableau, but you're using Power BI, or you're even using Google Sheets, or something else that connects to this open standard API, you can access this data. So let's talk about budget reporting first. We understand here at Lilt that when you're a LOC manager, you have to manage to the budget and to the quality, and you have all those stakeholders coming to you asking, do I have a budget for this translation project? Do I have a budget for that translation project? So this is probably going to be your bread and butter report that you come to every time you get this question. So let's get to it. When you come to Lilt Insights, open Lilt Insights, you'll see this report. This is the cost report or budget report. And as you can see, it's split into multiple sections. First of all is the overview. Overview lets you see the 10,000-foot view of your data, of your budget. So you can see how much you've committed to date, how much you spent to date, what's your commit versus spent to date, or what's your spend in selected period of time when you use the filters. Then you can see spend by project. So you can see which projects are using the most of your budget and if it's aligned with your plans. And then you can see the breakdown by language pair, which helps you see which language pairs are using the most budget. So if, for example, if you see here that there's something way too expensive because you shouldn't have that much content going on there, you can immediately flag it for your account manager. And here you can also see spend breakdown by percent, which lets you easily visually compare which projects and which language pairs take the most of your budget. And you can also see the difference. So you can see, oh yeah, I'm under budget here. I could do something more with this, or I'm over budget here. And then you can also see running spend over time, which lets you spot trends. So for example, in the summer, we're translating more Italian. And then a breakdown by language, which lets you see exactly this, but also split by language. So now let's get into the mindset of a LOC manager. You have all those stakeholders, and your marketing team comes to you and asks, do I still have budget for the project? How am I doing? So you can open this report. You quickly filter for marketing projects. You can select this year and see the data update in real time. And this is the budget report. And with that, I will hand over to George, who will talk to you about the production reporting.
Hey, Mars, thank you. I love seeing that cost report. It's really cool. So my name is George. I'm the product manager on the services team. So I'm really excited to show you the second half of Lilt Insights. But first, I'd like to share a little bit about my experience with the product. So before joining the product team here at Lilt, I was an analyst. And so my job was to answer customers' questions about their data. So, cost data, production data, all the stuff that's in Lilt Insights now. I love that job. It was a killer job. I'd come to my inbox every morning. There'd be questions. And, I got to live in the database and pull a bunch of data. It was really cool. But I always felt bad because, there's a turnaround time. It takes a day or two for me to get the email, send it off to the account manager, send it to the customer, go back and forth about explaining the answers, making sure everything lines up with what they expected. So I'm really excited to show you the production report of Lilt Insights, because no longer do our customers need a gatekeeper or have a gatekeeper on their data. So as you can see, it's set up a lot like the cost report. At the top, you have the same drop-down filters by project and by time. And right under that, you have 4 indicators. Again, this is report, so this is customizable, but in this case, we have a couple indicators that for this customer is a good pulse check on their pipeline. Right under that is the total volume over time. So this is really great. You can compare month over month how you're doing, and it gives you a better idea of forecasting your volume, and for not just next month, but out a couple months based on the previous months. So those are great, but the most important table here is total volume by language. I love this chart. It has, in my opinion, the most critical data, not just my opinion, but the customer's opinion, the most critical data for their production system. So if you step in the shoes of a manager, you come to this, and let's look at each of these individually. So first we have the volume. So this is indicated by 2 different columns. We have volume by the raw volume, the number, plus the percentage. So this is great. We include the percentage as well because it's really easy to see the bars. It's visually, it's easy to scan and see what's going on. You don't have to do any math. You can spot relative volumes right away. So in this case, it's really great because, for example, if France is your largest market, say you're A6 and you sell a bunch of stuff in France, but let's say this time of year you're not selling as much in France, and you know that that let's say it makes up 5% of your market, but here you're translating 15% of your volume there. So you might want to adjust your pipeline a little bit. So you might tone back on sending the French material and up your German material. So next, I want to cover turnaround. So turnaround is really great. This number, it's it's a great predictor of the health of your pipeline. But what this comes from is a document level, the amount of time it takes from a document entering Lilt system to being returned to the customer CMS. So this is great. And in this example, let's look at Italian. It's lagging at 7 days. So that's a pretty, the difference between Italian and Portuguese right above it, which have similar volume, is 7 days. So that's a significant difference, and not at all what Lilt is used to seeing with this amount of volume. We'd expect around a day. And actually, when our customers join, sometimes I would send this report to them with turnaround time, and they would question the number because it was it was lower than what they were expecting. Especially once we got the translators ramped up. So in this case, 7 days is definitely an outlier. So we would have you would email your account manager, and we still have a team of analysts, right? We didn't get rid of them, so they would dig in deeper into this data and figure out, okay, what's up with this 7 days? find the bottleneck, and then get back to you with a fix within a day. So this is a great number. I love it. The next number I want to talk about is the TM leverage percentage. So here we can see, or what this number indicates is the amount of translation being done by the memory, so being done by the computer automatically. So the higher the number, the better it is for your budget, the less we have to translate, right? So in this case, let's look at Italian again. It's at 13%, which kind of makes sense. Usually we can see a correlation between TM leverage and turnaround. It means that maybe they have to translate more than Portuguese, for example. So in this case, especially because a lot of the time when content is sent into Lilt, it's the same content being translated from one source to multiple targets. So 13% on one language with, when it's relative to the other languages is around 80, like that's a red flag. So what you do is you'd email your account manager again and say, hey, what's going on with this TM leverage? It looks low for Italian. They would get back to you with an answer, and we'd fix the problem, whatever it is, with the memory and get you right back on track. So what's really, really cool about this number is that, or this indicator, I should say, is that it can save you money, right? So you can see this before work is even started on the project. So once it enters, we assess the leverage and it shows up here. So before work even starts, you can see 13%. And so we can fix that before translators touch the documents. And therefore you saved, that 70% difference on your leverage if we can fix it with the memory. So I've seen this actually save customers a bunch of money. It's a really cool number. Great, so let's zoom out a little bit and step into the shoes of a manager. It's Thursday morning, you get into the office, first thing you do, you want to check the health of your pipeline. So you jump into Lilt Insights, you scroll down, you see the health of the top indicators, you scroll down for a more granular view, total volume by language. You see right away, okay, Italian, Spanish, and Danish, you can see they're highlighted red. They're having troubles. So you email your account manager, they get with the services team and our solutions team, dig into the projects, find what's going on, email you back within the day saying, hey, here's what's going on. We need, here's how we're going to fix it. Let's work together and get this right. And then you just saved a bunch of money, which is great. So that's Lilt Insights. Again, I'm really excited about this one. It's gonna be great, and I'm really excited to get in front of our customers this quarter, so they can start taking advantage of these great reports. And with that, I'll pass it back to Shaun.
George, thank you so much. Great features, Marius as well. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to turn to a Q&A. I see on the chat here some good questions already. I've invited John Vieira, our co-founder and chief scientist, to join us. Some of the questions here are more deep on research, so John will definitely chime in there. Hey, John, how are you?
Oh, great. Thanks for letting me crash.
Yeah, of course. You're always invited to crash. Okay, so chatting with Allison, we're going to take questions from the chat. John, thanks again for handling some of those questions in real time as we went through the demo. So why don't we take a look here and see what we have. I told Allison you've been doing such a great job that I'm not sure we're going to have a ton of questions, but let's see if we get some more from the audience.
Yeah, just to catch everybody up on what was happening in the chat, there was a demo of the system adapting as Kara was typing. And in particular, this, word defend changed to protect. It didn't change right away. It changed after she translated it twice or three times, I think. And, there was a discussion in the chat about what happens if a bad translation comes in. Does that sort of ruin the system? And these two things are related. So when we make an update, we don't kind of just overwrite everything that's already there. We try to make a statistical update that takes into account the new evidence, which is like how this thing was just translated, and all the system already knows. And if the new thing is just too new, then maybe it shouldn't be trusted right away. So that's the compromise that's being made in order to make the best overall predictions, is that we don't automatically pick up everything immediately, but instead we try to accumulate enough statistical evidence that it's time to change how the translations are happening. And that happens pretty fast over the course of just a few segments, but maybe not just one, because you don't want to let the system kind of take a really sharp turn in a new direction.
Yeah, so we have a question from Jen. Jen asks, I think I missed it. Is there any way of accessing insights without using Tableau? Thanks for the question, Jen. Awesome question. So Insights is enabled through an OData API. This can be used by just about any BI tool. It can also be used in its raw form. You can call the API directly. We furnish Tableau, pre-made Tableau reports just to make it easier for our customers. But certainly it's accessible just about any way you like. A lot of flexibility there. Is it possible to use the same translators as we normally work with when using Lilt? John, you want to take that one?
Sure. We have to get them on the platform. The most typical way this happens is that people engage us as a service provider, and so we're providing the translations. But if you want to suggest translators to us, it's a pretty quick process to onboard them. And we have a large freelancer community of translators. We do have to qualify them and learn about them. But of course, like a suggestion that, oh, these are great translators that know our content already, can help us fast track that process really easily. So they can immediately get engaged in our little translator community and be assigned to your project straight away. That would be something that's happened many times in the past.
I would second that. We definitely have customers where when they were onboarding, they said, "Hey, we have particular translators we'd like to use with Lilt," and we have Samantha, who's our head of services, and she works with Phoebe, also a Lilt employee that focuses on translator onboarding and education, and that team is of course ready to onboard any existing translators.
And then we also have clients who just want to use our software and kind of don't want to use our services arm. This is more unusual, but that can happen, and certainly has worked well. So earlier in this presentation, we were talking about deploying this on premises across different cloud providers. If that is the solution that you want, usually for privacy reasons, then of course, then your own translators would be using the software.
Question from Liath. How does Lilt handle RTL languages like Hebrew or Arabic? John, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. We pay attention to this when we built the editor. So basically just works how text editing would happen in other right-to-left languages. And the predictions work. I think it's pretty straightforward. Our founder and CEO, Spence, is an Arabic speaker, so he is quite quick to point out when there are any issues with English to Arabic. I think that is something that we have paid attention to.
Yeah, that's right. And on Cat 3, we've spent the last, I would say, month getting some of those interactions right. So yeah, thank you for the question. Abdallah, okay, how do you assign translators? Does it happen manually or by AI? I'll take this question. So today it actually happens manually, but we're in transition to make it happen automatically. Our service management team and service strategist team review incoming content, and they have a decision matrix upon which they decide what translator is best for the job. It's a function of previous experience, availability, specific content types, etc. It's actually a pretty reasonably sized matrix of variables that we use to make that determination. And as I said, we're actually right in the middle of automating that, and we plan to see that come to fruition, I would say in the next quarter or two. Bayan, thanks for the comment. I can tell you it works with Arabic. Thanks. The new editor will be in GA late Q4. So we'll be exercising that on the Arabic side as well. And as John mentioned, Spence does that in his free time.
And in terms of assigning translators to projects, I think we're already pretty data driven about it. You know, we know how often a translator had something corrected by a reviewer later on, how quickly they worked, how much they accepted suggestions versus changing things along the way. And so it's kind of a natural progression to make more of that automated, but we already kind of care about the data.
That's right. Yeah, it's a very data-oriented company. All right, well, the next session, Navigating Complex Content Localization with Paul from Canva, who's a close partner of ours and participates in our design program. We've done a number of cool things with Canva. That's starting right now. Please feel free to jump on over. I want to say thank you very much to our customers that have joined, to prospective customers, to general audience, and thank you, John, for quote unquote crashing our QA. Always great to have you. And thank you to the product and engineering team who've worked so hard, research team, to make this all come to fruition. Thank you all. See you in the next session.
Bye.